In 2023, something happened that the entire car industry was not prepared for. A single vehicle outsold every car on the planet. Not every electric car, gasoline, hybrid, diesel, every category, every brand, every market. One model came out on top. That vehicle was the Tesla Model Y. Now here is what makes this extraordinary. For years, industry analysts said mass-market electric vehicles could not compete with established gasoline cars. The data said otherwise. The buyers said otherwise. And in 2023, the sales numbers made it impossible to argue. 1,232,000 units in a single year. That number did not just break records. It rewrote what the car industry thought was possible. So how did this actually happen? What did Tesla get right that every other manufacturer got wrong? And what does this mean for every car buyer going forward? That is exactly what we are going to break down today, based on verified data, real sales figures, and facts that most people have never seen in one place. To understand why the Model Y won, you have to start with the numbers. And these numbers tell a story that no press release, no marketing campaign, and no industry prediction ever captured accurately. The Toyota Corolla has been one of the most consistently purchased cars on Earth for over 50 years. 50 years of trust. 50 years of reliability. 50 years of dealer networks in every country on the planet. In 2023, the Corolla sold approximately 1 million units globally. That is an extraordinary achievement for any vehicle. But the Model Y sold 1,232,000 units that same year. Tesla did not just compete with the Corolla, it surpassed it, and that single fact alone should stop anyone in their tracks. But the Corolla comparison is just the beginning. In the United States specifically, the Honda CR-V had been one of the most trusted family SUVs for decades. In 2023, it sold approximately 400,000 units domestically. The Model Y sold over 600,000 units in the United States alone. That is a gap of nearly 200,000 vehicles. These are not projections or estimates. These are verified figures from industry sales reports. So the obvious question becomes, why? Why did millions of buyers across completely different markets, different income levels, and different driving habits all arrive at the same decision? The answer starts with something most people overlook when they think about electric vehicles. It is not the technology itself, it is the math. According to data published by the U.S. Department of Energy, the average American spends between $2,000 and $3,000 every year on gasoline. Over 5 years, that adds up to as much as $15,000 spent purely on fuel. The average electric vehicle owner, by comparison, spends approximately $600 per year on electricity for driving. Over 5 years, that is $3,000. The difference is $12,000. $12,000 that stays in the buyer's pocket. Now consider that the Model Y started at approximately $43,000 in the United States, while the average mid-size gasoline SUV was priced around $38,000. On paper, the Model Y looked more expensive, but when buyers actually ran the 5-year numbers, the total cost of ownership told a completely different story. The Model Y was not the more expensive option. For millions of buyers, it was the smarter financial decision, and that realization changed everything. Range was the second factor that shifted buyer behavior in a way the industry did not anticipate. For years, range anxiety, the fear of running out of battery with no charger nearby, was the single biggest barrier keeping people away from electric vehicles. The Model Y long-range version addressed this directly with up to 330 miles on a single charge. According to the Federal Highway Administration, the average American drives approximately 37 miles per day. 330 miles means the typical driver could go nearly 9 days without needing to charge. 9 days. That is not a minor improvement over earlier electric vehicles. That is a complete elimination of the concern that had been holding the market back. The third factor was infrastructure, and this is where Tesla had built something that no competitor could replicate quickly. By the end of 2023, Tesla had constructed over 50,000 supercharger stations across the world. That network took more than 10 years to build. When a Model Y owner needed to charge on a road trip, the process was straightforward. Open the app, find the nearest station, plug in, and the session billed automatically to the account. No failed payment terminals, no incompatible connectors, no uncertainty. According to a study by J.D. Power, nearly 20% of public charging attempts by non-Tesla electric vehicle drivers failed in 2023. Nearly 1 in 5. That single reliability gap explained a significant portion of why buyers kept choosing the Model Y over competing electric vehicles that were, by many technical measures, genuinely impressive cars. The fourth factor happened inside Tesla's factories, and most buyers never thought about it, but it directly affected every price tag and every delivery timeline. In 2021, Tesla introduced a manufacturing process built around a machine called the GigaPress. This equipment produces large structural sections of the vehicle body as single cast pieces, replacing what previously required over 100 individual components welded together. The result was a measurable drop in manufacturing costs per vehicle, faster production speed, and a stronger body structure. By 2023, Tesla was running this process across 4 facilities in Fremont, Austin, Berlin, and Shanghai, simultaneously supplying buyers in every major global market without the delays and costs that come from centralized production. Traditional manufacturers were watching this unfold while still trying to build their first dedicated electric vehicle factory at competitive scale. What makes the Model Y story even more revealing is what happened to the competition. Because the traditional manufacturers were not standing still, they saw Tesla's momentum. They had resources, brand recognition, and decades of engineering experience, and they still could not close the gap. Ford launched the Mustang Mach-E with genuine ambition. It was a well-built vehicle that received positive reviews, but by 2023, Ford was losing approximately $45,000 on every electric vehicle it sold. Ford disclosed this figure publicly. Volkswagen committed over $100 billion to its electric transition and was still struggling to turn a profit on individual units. General Motors launched the Equinox EV with strong initial excitement, only to face repeated production delays that pushed deliveries back month after month. Meanwhile, Tesla was profitable on every Model Y it sold. That gap was not about pricing strategy. It came down to how much it actually cost to build each vehicle. The GigaPress reduced component complexity. Vertical integration of battery production removed supplier dependency. Selling directly to consumers eliminated dealership costs entirely. These were not temporary advantages. They were structural, and they took years to build. The global picture made the dominance even harder to ignore. In China, the world's largest car market, the Model Y held its position as the best-selling electric vehicle for multiple consecutive years. In a market where domestic brands like BYD carry enormous home advantages. In Norway, where electric vehicles now account for over 90% of new car sales, the Model Y ranked among the top-selling vehicles overall, not just within the electric segment. In Australia, Japan, and South Korea, the same pattern repeated. One vehicle, multiple continents, consistent results. Data collected by Recurrent Auto, which analyzed real-world driving information from over 30,000 electric vehicles across the United States, showed that Model Y owners reported higher satisfaction levels than owners of nearly any other electric vehicle available. Satisfaction at that scale does not stay quiet. It spreads through conversations, through recommendations, through families and colleagues who watch someone they trust drive a vehicle for a year and come away genuinely pleased. That kind of word of mouth is something no advertising budget can manufacture. Looking forward, the International Energy Agency projects that global electric vehicle sales will reach 40% of all new car purchases by 2030. In 2023, that figure stood at approximately 18%. Going from 18 to 40% in 7 years would represent one of the most rapid technology shifts in the history of the automobile. The battery technology behind these vehicles continues to improve. According to Bloomberg NEF, the cost of lithium-ion battery packs has fallen over 97% since 1991, and costs are still declining. That trajectory points toward a future where electric vehicles are not the premium choice, but the practical one for the majority of buyers. The Tesla Model Y did not become the world's best-selling car because of luck, subsidies, or because gasoline vehicles suddenly stopped making sense. It got there because the numbers worked. Lower running costs, sufficient range, reliable charging, efficient manufacturing, and a product that improved after you bought it. Every one of those factors is measurable. Every one is backed by data. What this story really shows is that when an electric vehicle gets enough things right at the same time, buyers notice. Not because they were told to, not because they were incentivized to, but because it made sense for their lives and their wallets. The car industry has been through major shifts before. This one feels different because the data is already here. It is not a prediction. It is happening. If this breakdown gave you a clearer picture of where the industry actually stands, subscribe to Future Auto Explained. This channel covers electric vehicles and the future of car technology with verified data and no exaggeration. See you in the next one.